You walk into a room, and nothing happens. Nobody looks up. Nobody remembers your name. 5 minutes after you've left, you tell yourself it doesn't matter, but deep down you know the truth. You've become invisible. And the worst part, you did this to yourself. See, charisma isn't something you're born with or without. It's not a gift from God or a lucky roll of the dice. It's a series of choices you make every single day. And most people are making all the wrong ones without even knowing it. I've spent my entire life reading rooms, studying people, understanding what makes a man memorable and what makes him forgettable. And I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The habits that kill your presence, your influence, your power to command attention, they're hiding in plain sight. You think you're just being polite, just being yourself, just getting through the day. But you're slowly erasing every ounce of magnetism you could have. The question isn't whether you have these habits. You do. The question is, are you ready to see them for what they are? Let me tell you something about the first habit that's destroying you from the inside out. You apologize. Constantly. For everything. For existing. For speaking. For taking up space in a world that should be grateful you're in it. Sorry to bother you. Sorry. Can I just... Sorry. I know you're busy, but every single one of those words is a brick you're laying in the wall of your own prison. And you don't even realize you're doing it. I watch people do this every day, and it makes my blood run cold. Not because I think you're weak. Weakness can be fixed, but because you're teaching everyone around you exactly how to treat you. You're handing them a manual that says I don't matter. My time doesn't matter. My thoughts don't matter. Please, walk all over me. I insist. And they will. Not because they're cruel, but because you've given them permission. You've shown them that you don't value yourself. So why in God's name should they? Now, let me be clear about something. I'm not telling you to become some arrogant fool who never admits when they're wrong. That's not charisma. That's delusion. There's a massive difference between taking responsibility and constantly diminishing yourself. When you've actually made a mistake, you own it. You look them in the eye and you say, I was wrong, without flinching. That takes strength. That commands respect. But when you say sorry for asking a question, for having an opinion, for simply being present in a conversation you have every right to be in, you're not being polite. You're being a ghost, and ghosts don't have charisma. The second habit is even more insidious, because it masquerades as efficiency. You rush your words, you speak faster than your thoughts can properly form, stumbling over sentences, filling every gap with and like and nervous laughter that sounds like you're apologizing for the air you breathe. You think you're saving people's time, being considerate of their attention. But what you're really doing is showing them you don't believe what you're saying is worth their time in the first place. I learned this lesson young, in rooms where one wrong word could cost you everything. The power isn't in how fast you talk. It's in how comfortable you are with silence. When I speak deliberately. Every word is chosen. Every pause is intentional. Because silence makes people listen. Silence creates weight. When you rush through your sentences like you're running from something, people hear that fear. They feel it. And fear is the opposite of charisma. Charisma is standing in front of someone and taking all the time in the world to say exactly what you mean, without apology, without hurry, without that desperate need to fill every second with noise. Think about the people who've captivated you in your life. The ones who made you hang on every word. Did they rush? Did they trip over themselves trying to get to the point? No. They spoke like they had all the time in the world. Like their words were worth the wait. Like you should feel privileged to hear them. And you did feel privileged. Because confidence is contagious, and so is doubt. When you rush, you spread doubt like a virus. You make everyone around you question whether this conversation is worth having at all. Now here's the third habit. And this one's gonna sting. Because I know you're guilty of it. You seek approval in every interaction. You're constantly checking the room, reading faces, adjusting your position based on how you think people are receiving you. Your opinions shift like sand, depending on who you're talking to. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You nod along with ideas you disagree with. You become a mirror instead of a person, reflecting back whatever you think will make people like you. And here's the cruel irony. It has the exact opposite effect. People don't respect mirrors. They respect people who stand for something, even if they don't agree with it. I've had men try to kill me, who respected me more than they respected their own allies, because at least they knew where I stood. At least they knew I wasn't going to change my tune the moment the wind shifted direction. When you're constantly seeking approval, you become unpredictable in the worst possible way. Nobody knows who you really are because you're too busy being whoever you think they want you to be. Charisma requires authenticity. Not the Instagram version of authenticity, where you carefully curate your flaws to seem relatable. Real authenticity. The kind where you state your opinion knowing full well that half the room might disagree with you, and you're completely at peace with that. Because you're not there to be liked by everyone. You're there to be respected. And respect only comes when people see that you respect yourself enough to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. The fourth habit is subtle, but it's killing you nonetheless. You avoid eye contact. Or worse, you hold it for a second, and then dart away like you've just looked at something you weren't supposed to see. Your eyes are everywhere. The floor, the ceiling, your phone, over their shoulder, anywhere except directly at the person you're speaking to. And every time you break that connection, you're telling them they don't have your full attention, which means you're not worth their full attention either. The eyes are where trust is built or destroyed. When I look at someone, I look at them, not through them, not past them, at them. I see them, and more importantly, I let them see me. That vulnerability is what creates connection. That's what makes people feel like they matter, like this moment matters. When you can't hold someone's gaze, you're not protecting yourself from intimacy. You're robbing both of you of the chance to actually connect. And connection is the foundation of charisma. You can't influence people you never truly see, and who never truly see you. I know what you're thinking, but it feels uncomfortable. It feels aggressive. Good. Growth feels uncomfortable. The first time you hold someone's gaze for an entire conversation, it's going to feel like you're doing something wrong. Your instinct is going to scream at you to look away, to give them space, to retreat back into safety. Don't. Stay there. Let them see that you're present, that you're engaged, that you're not afraid of the connection being formed. That's when everything changes. That's when you stop being just another person they talk to and become someone they remember. And now we come to the fifth habit. The one that ties all the others together. You wait for permission. Permission to speak. Permission to lead. Permission to take up space. Permission to be seen as someone worth listening to. You hang back in conversations, waiting for someone to ask your opinion. You defer to others, even when you know more than they do. You let opportunities pass by because you're waiting for someone to give you the green light, to tell you it's your turn, to validate that you deserve to be here. Nobody's coming to give you that permission. Nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, now you can be charismatic. Now you can command the room. Now you can matter. That's not how this works. Charisma is taken, not given. It's a choice you make every single day to show up as someone who belongs, who has value, who has something worth saying. Every moment you wait for permission is a moment you're telling the world you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? I never waited for permission for anything in my life. Oh, I walked into rooms I wasn't invited to. I made them grateful. I showed up. I spoke when I had something to say. And people listened, because I spoke like someone worth listening to. Not because I was born special, not because I had some magical gift, but because I made a choice. I chose to stop shrinking. I chose to stop apologizing for my existence. I chose to believe that I had every right to be exactly where I was, doing exactly what I was doing. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to look at these 5 habits. The constant apologizing, the rush speech, the approval seeking, the avoidance of eye contact, the waiting for permission. And you're going to decide which one is costing you the most. Not all of them at once, just one. Pick the one that resonates, the one that made you uncomfortable, because you recognize yourself in it. And tomorrow you're going to do something different. You're going to catch yourself in that habit and choose the opposite. Just once, just to see what happens. Because charisma isn't built in a day. It's built in 1,000 small moments where you choose presence over absence, confidence over doubt, authenticity over approval. It's built every time you hold someone's gaze instead of looking away. Every time you speak with intention instead of rushing. Every time you take up space instead of shrinking to fit someone else's expectations. These moments add up, they compound, and eventually you become someone people can't ignore. Not because you demanded attention, but because you stopped apologizing for deserving it.